Good evening. Hi, everybody. I'm Michael Rich. I'm the chair of the Visual Arts Department at Roger Williams University. I've been at Roger Williams for 19 years now. So you're probably guessing that I started teaching there when I was 12 by the looks of me. So I was a very young professor. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about the arts program today, and I'm just going to walk you through. I do not mind being interrupted, or if you want to offer up questions on the chat board, I can see it here on the side. So either Felicia or I will grab those questions and answer or give you longer explanation about things if you have specific questions about the program. Okay. Are there any questions before we start? Not yet? All right. I'm curious where everybody is. Elena, where are you?
I'm at my house.
Where's home?
This is my dining room. Huh?
Where's that?
North Providence.
Oh, you're in North Providence? Okay.
Pretty close, pretty close.
Yeah. Let's see, Jennifer. I see Jennifer, Ashlyn, Amanda. All right, I'll get started. Let's see. Bear with me. Okay, so you should see a PowerPoint on the screen at this. Yeah, okay, here we are. Welcome. I'll just give you a broad overview of what the visual arts program is all about and what makes us different and distinct. We are a small but mighty arts program. We are situated within the School of Humanities, Arts, and Education. That means that we are in close proximity to other programs like theater, dance, music, graphic design, creative writing, and so on. It's part of the creative heart and soul of the university. We are an interdisciplinary program by design. Because we're small, we choose not to focus on any one medium or have majors in multiple media. We have one department, one program, which is visual arts at Roger Williams. And we expect our students to have media experiences in a range of art making disciplines, from ceramics to sculpture to drawing and painting and printmaking, photography, digital media, video. Our students do a little bit of everything. Some specialize, and I'll get into that, and some kind of broadly sample from across the program. Our strength is really the amount of attention that we give to each student. It is one of the great benefits of being a smaller program is that we have the ability to get to know each and every one of our students, get to know them over time, get to see them develop as they move from course to course, media to media. And what we're really teaching in all of that is the individual, is the student themselves. What I mean by that is that we're equipping students with a broad range of skill sets. But really, we want to challenge them into thinking about what it is they care about, what they're inspired by, what drives them to the studio to pick up a paintbrush and make a painting, or grab their camera and make an image, or record a video about something, or get their hands in the clay. What is that? And does that thing change when they move from medium to medium? How does the medium affect their ideas? And that's part of liberal arts study. It's part of the broader inquiry about what it means to make art today. So we prepare our students for a future in the arts by cultivating technical proficiency in a range of media. And all of our media that we offer, there are beginning, intermediate, and advanced level options. So you have the chance to really cultivate a skill set in everything that we offer. Cultural understanding through ongoing criticism and dialogue and an understanding of the cultural context in which they're working. We want students to understand why they're making the decisions they're making, what implications those decisions have visually, and where they're coming from, and how where they're coming from influences the decisions they're making about the things they're making. So we all have different experiences, different backgrounds, and that has a role to play in the kind of work that we make. Just really quickly, we have 2 degree options and 4 minor programs, and I'll discuss those differences in a minute, but the 2 degrees are a Bachelor of Arts and a Bachelor of Fine Arts. That's unusual for a small liberal arts university to have both degree programs. Often you find just the BA program, and the BFA is usually found at a studio school. The BA program is more typical of a liberal arts university. It allows for a broader range of study across many disciplines, not just the visual arts, but say to combine your study with something else. And then the Bachelor of Fine Arts is the more focused program for those students who are thinking about a graduate school in the arts or going on to a career in teaching in the arts. We have 4 minors in visual arts that are open to all the majors across the university: film, animation, and video, painting, drawing, and printmaking, photography and digital media, and ceramics and sculpture. And those really represent the different media areas that we have available to all of our students. So film, animation, and video, most of our work is done digitally. If you are on the Roger Williams website at all, you'll see a sample of student videos posted to the website in our portfolio. And then those are, of course, linked back to a larger Vimeo page where you can see a broad sampling of student videos. And it's really an impressive range from kind of short story narrative work to the image here in the lower left is a stop motion animation. There's digital animation. So it really runs the gamut, high tech and low tech. Ceramics and sculpture. Ceramics is one of our fastest growing areas right now. Sculpture, we have invested quite a lot in new equipment in this past year. And we're really excited to make the most of that in this coming semester, next fall. Our ceramics studio is located downtown, and it's a beautifully appointed studio with 16 wheels and 4 kilns. I'll get to that. But that's a growing area of interest to all of our students, and we're finding that students who are who love photography and video are just loving getting in the clay studio and getting their hands wet in the clay, and are making really wonderful things. So it's added a whole new element to our program. My area of specialties is drawing, painting, and printmaking. We have several courses in painting at all levels, working with the figure in painting, oil painting, drawing, figure drawing, advanced drawing, and then a number of courses in printmaking, from wood carving to etching and intaglio to screen printing. We have all those resources there on campus. And photography and digital media, and it's hard to tell one from the other these days, but digital image making and photographic image making is also really popular. It's one of our more popular minors and a really popular area for the major students to take courses in. Got great work going on in that area. So the differences between the 2 degrees. The Bachelor of Arts is just 42 credits. That's about 1/3 of your overall credits that you need to graduate. Everybody needs 120 credits to graduate Roger Williams. And so the BA, which is typical, is a smaller degree or has a smaller footprint, and that allows you to have a double major or multiple minors within the program. Sorry, that's my heat coming on in the background.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Wow.
I mean, that's where I am is not where I am, so that's fake. I'm fake sitting to you in the art building, but I'm actually in my studio in Pawtucket, which is an old mill building, and it has these steam heat pipes, but I digress. They won't last for very long. So the 42 credits really is giving you space in your course of study as a student to think about other programs that you want to include. So what do students do? They are combining visual arts with education, architecture, graphic design, creative writing, business, minors like film studies or arts and cultural administration. So you're interested in the arts, but really you have other interests, and you're thinking about building other skill sets outside of the arts to help bolster your chances out in the career fields, right? And it also, you know, there are students who are interested in art therapy, so they're thinking about art and psychology. I had a student just graduate 2 years ago. She was a chemistry and visual arts double major with a minor in art history because she really wanted to become an art conservator. And her graduate studies were going to include art conservation, and so she needed to know chemistry and she needed to know art history, but she needed to know art making. So you can really put together a very creative and individualized course of study for yourself. And I think that's really exciting. The Bachelor of Fine Arts is for those students who just love the studio and they want to take every studio class that we have to offer, and they're thinking about teaching at the college level or going on to graduate study, but they really want to have a very, very strong portfolio when they're done, and they don't really want to add a second major to their course of study. There is still room for a minor, and a number of students take on the education studies minor or the film studies minor or something like that in order to augment their studio work. But it's a more intensive arts focused degree. We do require an internship of all of our BFA students. It's one of the distinctive parts of the program. And we've had students do everything from work as artist assistants to work as photographers assistants to interning in aquariums and scuba diving in the tanks to photograph the fish. You name it, our students have done it for internship credit. And that's a joint program run through our Career Center, our Center for Career and Professional Development. You work with a faculty member to identify a meaningful internship. We can help you find one, or students often come to us with an internship in their hometown. And we had a student at Marvel Comics just recently, or Marvel Studios. He really wanted to be a toy designer. And he ended up getting his first job with Marvel, just graduated last year, and he's doing really well. And all of his work was in visual arts with a minor in architecture. So he had some solid design experience. I can talk about our facilities a little bit. We have old media and new media, and we're spread out throughout the campus, and we're also off campus. So on campus, in our Fine Arts Center, it's a little round building in the center of campus that we affectionately call the Muffin, and it houses the dirty arts. I mean, the messy arts, right? The sculpture, painting, drawing, printmaking. If it makes a mess, that happens over there generally. And that's my domain. That's where I like to hang out, where some of the faculty offices are. So we have a sculpture facility that has a fabrication space, an exhibition space, and a brand new wood shop. This is before some of the new tools were brought in just recently, but we have new equipment like new table saws and band saws and dust removal equipment. And so our capabilities for fabrication have really greatly improved over the last year. And students move both inside and outside to work. That happens on the first floor. And then on the second floor are the drawing, painting, and printmaking spaces. I should note this is a typical class. I don't always require my students to work on the floor, but they were working on these assemblage drawings at the time. But classes are capped at 16 students in the arts. You never have more than that in a class, and it enables us to really spread out, to have enough room for each student and to give ample attention to each student. This is another look at that space with the final end of semester exhibition up, so you can see easels tucked away with work on it, and some of our ceramics work there, and large drawings, charcoal drawings, and some prints. But it's a flexible space. It's got lots of light and high ceilings, and students have a lot of affection for it. It's one of the older buildings on campus, but it's a real home base for all of our art students. We have a Mac lab, which is located in the North Campus Residence Hall. And that has 16 stations of iMac computers, large format printing for photographs up to 24 inches wide. We have a very large monitor for viewing video. We have critique spaces, a wall there for pinning up photographs and looking at them. It's a pretty well appointed space, and it's a very active hub for photography and film, animation, video areas. Off campus, we have a couple of spaces, and we're really lucky. We have 2 spaces in the Byfield School, and across the street, our ceramic studio is located in the Reynolds School. And these were elementary school buildings owned by the town that go back to the 19th century, and they've been restored, and they're now home to local artists and designers and craftspeople that rent out these classroom spaces. And so our students are working in proximity to these local artists and designers. And we have a couple of really flexible spaces that allow for exhibition and fabrication. All of our upperclassmen are given a studio space over there, and it allows them to create a community, to make work, to spread out, to leave things set up, to have a desk, to have a work area, and to have exhibition opportunities. It's downtown, but it's right in the heart of the business district, so it's close to coffee shops and our local taco shop, and it's right on the village green and also on the bus route. So students hop on the bus like they do for many of their classes as they move around or move to the various dorms around campus and off campus, and it's right on the route. And so students hop on and off and go to the Byfield and Reynolds studios that way. Here's another look at our ceramics studio and some of the work that's done there across the street at the Reynolds School. 16 wheels for doing wheel throwing work, and 4 kilns of different sizes, but we have a large capacity for firing work. Got a brand new kiln this year that's been firing up work even with students working remotely. That right now we had a lot of work that was left behind that was yet to be fired, and as we speak, things are still being fired. But it's a really well appointed space, and again, 16 students max. There's usually 2 sections of clay a wheel throwing and a hand building each semester. And there's quite a community of ceramicists growing on campus. Something that's pretty new for us is that we've partnered with the Bristol Art Museum. It's around the corner from our studios downtown, right on the main street in Bristol, on just off of Hope Street. And it's a beautiful, newly restored, used to be a carriage house in town, and it is now a local museum, and it's a beautiful sunlit space. And they give it to us for 2 weeks every spring to have a museum exhibition of our senior work. So all of our graduating visual arts majors and minor students are included in an end of semester exhibition in this space. And it allows us to really put our best foot on, put best foot forward, and really have a wonderful exhibition at the end of the school year to celebrate the good work that the students are doing. It also raises the caliber of the work. You are exhibiting in a museum after all. It's not just a campus gallery. It's a step above that. The public is coming into it. And it's just turned out to be a wonderful event for us to have every spring. Really sad we're not having it this semester, but we will have it again next year. And it's a long-term relationship, and we're really excited about it. You graduate with a museum exhibition on your resume. I'm a painter. I've exhibited around the world. Took me till my 40s to have a museum exhibition on my resume. So you guys are lucky. It's really a wonderful thing. So just to recap our program, you know, we're interdisciplinary. It's either a BA or a BFA in visual arts. That's the degree. Students are taking a range of courses in the 4 different media areas that we offer. We have beginning, intermediate, and advanced courses in all of our media areas. All of our students are included in the museum exhibition, which I should add goes towards, you know, is really the culminating experience of trying to figure out who you are as an artist, as an individual, the kind of work that you'd like to make. And so you go through all these wonderful experiences of media, being challenged all along the way as to what is your work about? What are the potentials there? What's inspiring to you? And how does it become, how do you make a body of work out of it? How does it represent a very individualized direction for art making? And we show that off at the end of your time here in the museum. You may hear about this publication called NADI, which stands for New and Dangerous Ideas, which comes from a Roger Williams quote. And it's a publication that our students put on. It's a student-run publication, and it's really meant to talk about a diversity of ideas and give voice to a diversity of our students, a range of our students. And it's meant to be provocative and challenging. And of course, as a publication, there's a lot of opportunity for visuals, photographs, and paintings and drawings. And then there's a lot of writing and poems and short stories. And that's published both online and in print every year. And our visual arts and graphic design students are very involved in that. We have a film fest every year to celebrate our film animation video students. That happens in December of every year. And it's really like a short film festival, and always a lot of fun. And then lately we've developed a new relationship with Waterfire Providence that allows us to exhibit in just a gigantic mill space in Providence that was once where they manufactured locomotives. It's this big space called Waterfire Providence, a center for the arts. And it's just a big open brick and concrete space that hosts these major exhibitions. And we do an exhibition there every year now. That allows us to do some more avant-garde and fun video work and installation-based work. So those are some of the highlights of our school year. So I think you get the sense that we're a dynamic program that, you know, for a liberal arts university out on a little peninsula in a small town in Bristol, Rhode Island, we got a lot going on and we're very busy. And we see ourselves as part of what's happening in the art scene in Rhode Island. And it's really a fun place to study and work. I can tell you about some of our alumni and what they're doing. I'm really proud to say that there's nobody starving and cutting their ear off. Everybody's carved for themselves very individual and exciting career paths. They're working as gallery assistants and arts administrators. Just heard from a student a couple of weeks ago who's been working at the Newport Art Museum and is now going on to museum studies and curatorial studies as part of her graduate work. We have lots of students who are involved in teaching and education. Must be they had inspiring teachers along the way. That's all I can think. But at all levels, teaching at the college level, teaching at elementary level, teaching in community education programs. We have students that really wanted to be involved in publication. So we have some that are working as, that were double. I can think of a student who graduated just 2 years ago who had a double major in creative writing and visual arts and is now working for a publishing house in Boston as an art director. We have students in the design field. A lot of our students are double majors in graphic design and they're going back and forth between their individual creative work and then their professional work where they take on design work for clients. Lots of students go on to graduate studies in film, in curatorial studies and education and art therapy, you name it. And then we have students who just became artists and are working as photographers and owning their own businesses and becoming designers. So it really runs the gamut, but we do prepare students through the internship program, through a course called Professional Practices for the Arts, and just instilling a kind of professionalism about presentation and portfolios and speaking about the work that they do very early on in the program. So it is a profession and we want you to think about it that way. I'm open to questions at this point from anybody that might have them and can backtrack and talk about any of the things in more depth if you have questions.
Awesome, thank you. So again, you guys can feel free to ask those questions in the chat, or if you want to take yourself off mute, you're welcome to ask the questions directly. It looks like there's one that came into the chat, which was also one of my questions too. So are there any opportunities for studying abroad?
Yeah, absolutely. Our flagship program is in Florence, Italy, which, you know, obviously there's a lot of questions about that right now, but we'll be back to that. I am sure it is a program that houses a lot of our architecture students as well. It's in the Palazzo Rucellai, which is a famous Alberti design palazzo in downtown Florence. And the vibe of the study abroad there is Renaissance. Obviously, you're in the heart of the Renaissance, and so you're studying things like buon fresco techniques and Renaissance techniques in drawing, and art history and Italian culture and language, etc. That's a wonderful program, and we send students there every semester. but many of our students have very individualized interests. So we've sent students to Ireland, to China, to Holland, to France, Australia. I've got a student going to New Zealand. So, you know, really, we have a wonderful studies abroad office, and if you have someplace you want to go, chances are we have a relationship with an institution in one of those places, and our studies abroad office really helps you find that and work out the application details. Where I help as department chair is making sure that your work abroad is counted directly towards your major, so you're not losing time if you're studying abroad. So I encourage it, and it's one of the best things you can do as a student right now.
Awesome. I definitely support that plug for study abroad for sure. I think our statistic now is 41% of our students will study abroad at some point, which is really awesome. And we have those semester-long programs, so you can go away for a whole semester and study abroad. But we also have what I like to call short-term study abroad programs. And so sometimes this is a class that a professor hosts abroad, like during our winter intersession or over the summer. And they could be related to your major, but they could also be purely elective based. So, you know, you can jump on one of those study abroad opportunities as well. And those are usually 3 to 4 week long classes. And you'll be on campus for part of it, and then you'll go abroad for part of it. And sometimes they do the core curriculum classes that way too. So just an option to keep in mind as well. And then we also have clubs and organizations that go abroad too. So we have like a Habitat for Humanity club, which travels throughout the United States. We have professors that do research and have like relationships with certain tribes in Arizona. And so they'll take classes over there and volunteer usually during our spring breaks. And then I was involved in FIMRIC, which is the Foundation for International Medical Relief of Children. Very long name. But Roger Williams has one of the largest volunteer chapters with FIMRIC. And I personally got to go to their Peru site and their Ecuador site. And then for my other study abroad experience, I went to Bermuda for marine biology for a whole semester. So, I mean, technically I studied abroad 3 times, but like, who's counting? So there really are so many different ways that you can get that study abroad experience. So if a semester seems like it might be a little bit too long to be away, there are those short-term study abroad programs that you can look into as well.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
Okay, let's see. So another question is, I would like to minor in film and animation. What animation program do you use?
So Thomas, I am a painter and printmaker, and it's a little outside my area of expertise. We are, but I can tell you that we're heavy Adobe users. Adobe Premiere is our go-to program for most of our video work. And the whole Adobe suite is in heavy use in all the video and animation and photography classes, everything from Lightroom to Photoshop to Illustrator, etc. I know that some of the 3D modeling programs that we use are those like Maya, which is used by our architecture program as well. It is what you see the Pixar programs being created with. It's basically made for the architectural environment and the 3D rendering of space, but we've used it for, our students have used it for digital video animations. And then there's lots of low-tech things being done, particularly with stop animation, which has seen a real resurgence right now. So I have students creating watercolors in my class and then bringing them into video, or creating sculpture in my intermedia class and animating those through stop motion. They're really influenced by movies like Coraline or Wallace and Gromit, and they want to do some of those things. So it really depends on the students. And of course, the technology evolves so quickly. So it's just as soon as we start to build a course around a particular software, that software is becomes obsolete and changes or goes through some changes. So we really don't do that. We don't structure our classes around one particular software program. Instead, we build the course around the content. Why do you want to make a video? What do you want to make a video about? What do you think it should look like? What are you trying to say? What's the story you're trying to say? And then we try to figure out the best visual way to tell that story. And sometimes it can be a very simple process. And then sometimes it can be a very tech-heavy process, like Maya is not an easy program to learn. And the minor in visual arts is 18 credits, which is six courses. So all of Roger Williams students have to take a core concentration. That's part of your liberal arts study, and that core concentration is a 5-course sequence. Most students add on that 6th course to get the 18 credits, and that becomes a minor. So for example, if you're an architecture major and you want a minor in film, video, animation, you can also receive your core concentration in film, video, animation, kill 2 birds with 1 stone, fulfill your gen ed credits, or our core credits as we call them, and then receive your minor at the same time.
Exactly. So I would kind of like describe that core curriculum sometimes as a passion area of yours that's outside of your major. I definitely think one of the biggest strengths of our university is the fact that you have so many different choices that are laid out right in front of you. You can do visual arts, you can do education, you can do criminal justice, psychology, marine biology, marketing, accounting, finance. We have so many different opportunities for you. And so you'll come with your primary major, and then you do have that core curriculum. And that will be 5 classes in an area that's outside of your major that you choose. So that's kind of why I like to describe it like a passion area, you know, because you can really put 2 different things together. So I was a marine biology major, and I just chose Spanish as my core concentration. And then I added that extra class, and then that became my minor. So that's how I got marine biology and Spanish. So Spanish fulfilled that core requirement. So you can pair stuff like that too, which is really great.
Jennifer's asking the question that everybody's asking right now, like with
Yeah.
social distancing and remote work, if this has had a harder effect on visual arts, or is it easier because we're mobile? Both. In some respects, it's been difficult, and in other respects, it's been quite inspiring. So I can tell you how I'm inspired and tell you where the challenges are and how we're going to meet those challenges going forward. But obviously, every institution is facing this right now. Many programs have had to cancel. Many art schools, like RISD just down the street, has had to refund students. So what we had to do, number one, Roger Williams is very well positioned for the digital environment because we do a lot digitally anyway. I teach old school painting and drawing. However, all of my students document their work. We talk about documentation, photographing their artwork. They have to learn how to build a beautiful portfolio. And so we start this in the first beginning drawing class, and they're submitting their work to me through our online learning platform called Bridges. And Bridges is where we post our assignments. It's where we grade. It's where we keep track of our grades. It's where we can connect to our students via email. We can post documents and links and so on. So we're all using that platform. And we were all using it anyway. We had to for accreditation to be able to gather digital artifacts of the work that our students make. So that was already in place. That didn't change, but we all had to dig a little deeper into the tools that Bridges offers and find out, okay, what else can this thing do? And what other things can we use to augment our teaching so that we're not just putting static assignments up, and how do we engage with the students where they're at? So we have a meetings tool that enables us to use video and voice and sound, just like Zoom. So some of our students or some of our faculty are adopting that, and that's built right into Bridges. Some of our faculty are adopting Zoom like I am for my classes. Just like we're doing today, I'm looking at all my classes and screens and looking at their work digitally. Some are using a combination of Zoom and meetings. Some are using Google Docs and other ways of connecting. And then we're also heavy social media users right now. So one thing that's been really important is to maintain a sense of community, even though we've gone our separate ways. And so I created an Instagram feed for my class, and I'm every day posting my students' work, and other students in the class are making comments casually. I've created a private Facebook group where I'm posting videos and demonstrations. So as I'm mixing paints or talking about the next project and introducing that project, I'm creating a video of that and allowing students to access that video whenever they want, during the class or at any time they want. So, you know, some of these things have been challenging, and some of us had to get up to speed really quickly on these tools. I think going forward, I'm going to continue using a lot of these tools. For example, today I was Skyping with, this week I was Skyping with a student in Japan, talking about their work. I was Zooming with a group of students about their latest final project proposals. They were sharing with me Pinterest boards of work that inspires them. I can share screens and we're all talking about the things that they're looking at. They're using the chat feature on the side to critique each other's work, and then I'll call on them to talk about it in more depth. So, you know, I'll continue to do some of that. Some of my advising is done online, and that's going to really free up some of my advising time to be able to connect with students at night or at a time that's more convenient for them than coming into my office hours. So I think the digital environment is here to stay even when we're back together in the class. So I met with our faculty just yesterday in visual arts. Some faculty are struggling, no doubt. The ceramics faculty aren't able to send everybody home with a wheel and a kiln to throw their own pots. So, you know, some of that work that they're doing is research work at this point in time, drawing work to, you know, sculptural work based on found objects and things like that. That's been a hard adjustment. And students miss working with clay. There's no getting around that. The silkscreen students, we have invested a lot of money in a really nice silkscreen studio in the visual arts building, and students aren't able to take advantage of that now. So we're teaching them some low-tech stenciling methods and ways of making printmaking at home in a kitchen studio. And it's possible, and it's maybe something they'll be able to use when they graduate, but it's not ideal and not something we'd like to do. But we talked about it, and we're prepared to go digital next semester if we need to, for all or part of the semester, who knows? But we're better equipped now, and I think we've got tools in place to still maintain a meaningful experience. And I have to say that I feel that if one thing's helping us maintain some sense of normalcy in this very strange and trying time, it's the ability to connect with my students, to see their faces, to know they're okay, to hear their stories. And I have to say that the students, without exception, are throwing themselves into their work. They're taking it seriously. They're keeping up their focus, and they're still able to produce good quality work. So I'm really pleased with how things are going so far. I think this took us by surprise in terms of having to shift over to an all online teaching environment this semester, with a little more advanced planning in the summer to think about it, we'll be much better equipped to handle it in the fall. And we'll probably take advantage of some of the unique things that happen in the digital environment to design our classes around that. But my students are still painting and drawing, and they're doing great work, and I'm really pleased to say that.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any other questions for me or for Professor Rich? Anything that you want to know specifically about your interests or the visual arts major, minor, anything on the admission side, or any questions, comments, concerns, anything anyone can think about? Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put my email address right in this chat for you guys. So, if you think all this over and you come up with some more questions, my email is right there. So just feel free, to reach out to me. Professor, if you're comfortable, you can put your email in there as well. Otherwise, I'd be happy to forward anything to you that comes through. Up to you.
There it is.
Perfect. So
Yep.
if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. We're here for you guys and to help you, decide what to do and answer any of your questions. So.
Yep. Stay connected. I will tell you that we have a pretty active Instagram feed. I'm going to share it right here.
I was going to say, I followed the Instagram in the middle of this presentation. I was like, oh, I want to see.
Yeah. All of our faculty are contributing to this, and we're sharing what our students are doing in real time.
Mm-hmm.
And you might ferret around on there, and you'll see many of our classes have created their own feeds. And so you'll see a class called Life in the Time of Corona, and Prof. Rich. And we've created ways for our students to stay connected. But when you look at those, you'll get the sense that this is a very active and very dynamic and very diverse program.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. So with that, again, thank you so much for coming and attending our session. Please reach out if you have any questions. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you very much, and have a good
Yeah.
holiday, everyone.
Yes, have a good holiday. Bye.
Bye.